Hello everyone, welcome back to the Silver Index. Before we dive into today's absolutely mind-blowing analysis, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now because what I'm about to reveal could change your financial future forever. We're witnessing something that happens maybe once in a generation, and if you miss this window, you'll be kicking yourself for years to come. The rotation from tech stocks into precious metals isn't just happening. It's accelerating at a pace that's making Wall Street's biggest players scramble to reposition their portfolios. And silver is about to become the investment opportunity of the decade, potentially dwarfing even the legendary NVIDIA run we saw in AI stocks. I know that sounds insane, but stick with me because the data I'm about to show you is absolutely irrefutable. Let's talk about what's happening right now in the markets. For the past 2 years, everyone's been obsessed with artificial intelligence stocks, semiconductor companies, and anything remotely connected to the tech boom. NVIDIA became a household name, turning early investors into millionaires virtually overnight. But here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you. Every major market cycle has a rotation phase, and we're entering that phase right now. The smart money, the institutional investors who move billions of dollars, they're not chasing AI anymore. They're moving into hard assets, into commodities, and specifically into silver. Why? Because they see what's coming, and it's bigger than anything we've witnessed in the past decade. Silver isn't just some shiny metal that sits in your grandmother's jewelry box. It's the most undervalued strategic resource on the planet right now. Think about this for a second. Every single solar panel requires silver. Every electric vehicle uses significantly more silver than traditional cars. The entire green energy revolution that governments worldwide are mandating, it cannot happen without massive amounts of silver. We're talking about 5G infrastructure, medical devices, water purification systems, and countless industrial applications that are absolutely essential to modern life. But here's the kicker that nobody's talking about. We're consuming silver faster than we're mining it. The above-ground stockpiles are depleting at an alarming rate, and new mine production can't keep up with demand. This is basic economics, supply and demand in its purest form, and it's setting up for an explosive move that could send silver prices into the stratosphere. Now let's get into the numbers because this is where it gets really interesting. Silver is currently trading at levels that are historically absurd when you compare it to other assets. The gold to silver ratio, which measures how many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold, has been completely out of whack. Historically, this ratio averages around 50 to 1, but we've seen it spike to over 100 to 1 in recent years. That means silver has been dramatically undervalued compared to gold, and that gap is starting to close rapidly. When these corrections happen, they don't happen slowly. They happen violently, with price movements that shock even seasoned traders. We saw this in 2011, when silver went from $15 to nearly $50 in a matter of months. But the setup we have today is even more compelling, because the fundamental demand has never been stronger. The performance metrics we're seeing in the silver market right now are absolutely staggering. In the past 6 months alone, silver has outperformed the majority of the stock market, and we're just getting started. Major mining companies are reporting that their production costs are rising, while their ability to find new deposits is becoming increasingly difficult. This creates a perfect storm scenario where industrial demand keeps climbing. Investment demand is surging as people flee overvalued tech stocks, and supply remains constrained. The derivatives market for silver, which has been used to artificially suppress prices for years, is showing signs of breaking down. When that happens, and it's a matter of when not if, we could see price movements that make the NVIDIA rally look tame by comparison. I'm talking about potential returns that could turn a modest investment into life-changing wealth. What makes silver unique compared to other investments right now is its dual nature as both an industrial metal and a monetary metal. During times of economic uncertainty, precious metals have always been a safe haven. People flock to gold and silver when they lose faith in paper currencies and government policies. But silver has an additional catalyst that gold doesn't have in the same magnitude. It's absolutely critical for technological advancement and the green energy transition. Governments around the world have committed trillions of dollars to these initiatives, and every single one of them requires massive amounts of silver. China, the United States, Europe, they're all racing to build out solar infrastructure, EV charging networks, and smart grid technology. All of this needs silver, and there simply isn't enough to go around at current prices. The only way to balance supply and demand is through significantly higher prices, and that process is already underway. The safety aspect of investing in silver right now is often misunderstood. People think of precious metals as risky or speculative, but that's actually backwards in the current environment. What's risky is staying fully invested in overvalued tech stocks that are trading at absurd multiples with no earnings to justify their valuations. What's risky is holding cash that's being devalued by inflation and reckless monetary policy. Silver represents tangible value that has been recognized for thousands of years. It can't be printed into existence by central banks. It can't be diluted by stock offerings, and it has intrinsic value based on its physical properties and industrial uses. When you invest in silver, whether through physical metal, mining stocks, or ETFs, you're positioning yourself in an asset that has real scarcity and real demand. That's the definition of a safe investment in today's chaotic financial landscape. Now, let's talk about price targets, because this is what everyone wants to know. Conservative analysts are projecting silver to reach $60 to $80 per ounce within the next 12 to 18 months. That's more than double from current levels. But the more aggressive forecasts, the ones coming from analysts who understand the supply-demand fundamentals and the monetary implications of what's happening globally, they're calling for silver to reach $150 to $200 per ounce. I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain why it's not only possible, but actually probable. If silver simply returned to its historical ratio with gold, and gold continues its trajectory toward $3,000 per ounce, we're looking at silver in the $60 to $70 range minimum. But if industrial demand continues to accelerate and investment demand surges as more people wake up to this opportunity, there's no telling how high it could go. In the 1980 spike, silver briefly touched $50, which adjusted for inflation would be over $170 in today's money. We have better fundamentals now than we did then. The unique selling points of silver as an investment right now are absolutely compelling when you lay them all out. First, you have the supply deficit that's getting worse every year. Second, you have unprecedented industrial demand from multiple secular growth trends happening simultaneously. Third, you have a growing recognition among retail and institutional investors that precious metals are undervalued and underrepresented in portfolios. Fourth, you have geopolitical tensions and currency concerns driving people toward hard assets. Fifth, you have the technical setup showing a massive breakout pattern that could trigger algorithmic buying and short covering that sends prices vertical. And perhaps most importantly, you have a situation where the risk-reward ratio is incredibly favorable. The downside is limited because silver is already trading near production costs for many miners, while the upside is potentially several 100%. Where else in the market can you find that kind of asymmetric opportunity right now? In conclusion, what we're witnessing is nothing short of the rotation of the century. The money that poured into tech stocks that created the NVIDIA millionaires and the AI bubble is beginning its migration into hard assets and specifically into silver. This isn't speculation or wishful thinking. This is already happening, confirmed by flow data, positioning reports, and price action. The $200 price target that sounds so outrageous today will seem conservative when we look back 18 months from now. But here's the critical point. This opportunity has a window, and that window is closing rapidly. Once silver breaks through key resistance levels and the mainstream media starts covering this story, you'll have already missed the best entry points. The smart money is positioning now while prices are still relatively low and before the crowd arrives. Whether you choose physical silver, mining stocks, or ETF exposure, the important thing is to get positioned before this freight train leaves the station. This is the Silver Index, bringing you the analysis and insights that could change your financial future. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with anyone who needs to hear this message. The rotation has begun, and silver is leading the charge. Don't get left behind. Remember, we're not just talking about small gains here. We're talking about the potential for generational wealth creation. Kind of opportunity your grandchildren will ask you about. So take action today. Position yourself in silver before it's too late. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.